Hi, everybody. Welcome to Sideline Shenanigans. My name is Bryan. I have Coach Bill Peebles here from Indianapolis Cathedral. Coach, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. All right, let's just get started with your schedule. Holy cow! You got Ben Davis, Brownsburg, Center Grove, and Warren Central. Tough schedule.
It doesn't the St. X, Cincinnati. I mean, we've got in Chittard, a perennial powerhouse. So we do have an elite schedule, and I mean, we're not used to it. When you say used to it, it is what it is. They're the teams that want to play us. They're all tough, and we welcome the challenge.
Especially Center Grove. My goodness. All
Yeah,
right.
they've been a fun rivalry game for us.
Yeah, I definitely cannot wait to see it. How would you describe the culture of Cathedral football? I know you're a graduate of Cathedral. I did my research.
Thank you. We have a great culture at Cathedral. Obviously, we're Catholic school. We're one of the larger Catholic schools in the state of Indiana. We have about 1,150 students, about 550 boys. And we have a culture that cares about success. One of our school mottos is greatness is calling. So we want to be good at everything we do. And football's part of that, but also the academics, the school itself. I mean, our fine Irish departments is excellent. The band's excellent. We want to be excellent in everything we do, and our school promotes it. Football's part of it. Football has a long history at Cathedral High School. We've been around for 104 years, and football on year 2 at Cathedral High School in 1919 was the first year Cathedral had football. And we have the most wins in the state of Indiana. So football is something that's important to Cathedral High School. And I'm very fortunate. I am a graduate. I was here for 11 years in the mid 90s to the mid 2000s as an assistant coach. I became the head football coach at Southport High School for 11 years and was at Lawrence Central for a couple of years before I came back to Cathedral High School. And I'm entering my 8th year. So I'm fortunate to be in a culture that cares about success. And the success is not always about the wins and losses. We have a motto at Cathedral High School, and it says, it's not what you get from Cathedral football, it's what you become. Because our goal is to win state every year, but we also know we're not going to win state every year. Our players' goal is that they want to be D1 athletes or collegiate athletes, and not everybody's going to be a D1 athlete. And some guys decide not to play college football. So it's more about the process at Cathedral High School, becoming a great student and an excellent athlete. And also, the spiritual component at Cathedral High School as a Catholic school is really important. Then obviously just being good members of the community on the social aspect is important. So we want to be good in every area.
Okay, Coach, what does Cathedral football mean to you?
That for me, it's real easy. It's family. I'm an 88 graduate. My father's a 64 graduate. I have an uncle that graduated a couple years later. My siblings went to Cathedral High School. I have a brother and 2 sisters that graduated from there. I've had 3 kids go through there. And, I actually have 2 grandkids right now who are little ones. I'm old, but I'm not that old. So I have 2 little guys, grandkids that are, we call it Irish blessings, that are in the daycare, which is our daycare at Cathedral High School is for our current teachers. But as somebody who has grandkids, they let me bring my grandkids there at Cathedral High School. So there are 4 generations of Cathedral Peebles at Cathedral High School, and that's an easy one.
How do you prepare for a rival like Center Grove?
You know what? You mentioned our entire most of our schedule earlier. It's just one game. We have a board in our locker room that says next our opponents, and where it says opponents, every single slot is not the opponent we play, not Center Grove, not Ben Davis, not Brownsburg. It says Irish. So we approach Center Grove like we approach every team, which is we have to take care of ourselves. and we have to worry about us doing things the right way. We can't worry about them. I mean, we've played some unbelievably great Center Grove teams. We've lost to them in the playoffs a couple times on their way to a state championship. We've lost to Ben Davis 2 years ago on the way to the state championship. Brownsburg is an opponent that we've met more than one time a year, a couple times here in the last couple of years on their way to a state championship. So, we're playing an elite schedule. The last 3 state champions are Brownsburg, Ben Davis, Center Grove. So, and they're all in our regular season's calendar. We cannot worry about who we play. We have to worry about us and developing our kids the right way. And then on a week-to-week basis, it's about us not making mistakes and doing things the right way.
How do you balance run versus pass game?
Thank God for the RPO game. The best way. This is a great question. I've never been asked this question by a media person. I put it in the quarterback's hands. We run a ton of RPOs, and we have for a long time. We at the high school level, we were kind of on the front edge of the RPO game. Been doing it for probably 13, 14 years. The RPO game gives a lot of flexibility to the quarterback to make decisions on the field of hand it off or throw it. We have been, I don't 50-50 run to pass ratio is it's not our goal, but when we self scout at the end of the year for the last 7 years at Cathedral High School, we have been either 55, 45, or somewhere in between run to pass. A couple years we run more, a couple years we pass more. And a lot of that is the RPO game allows you to take what defense gives you. And if the box is light, we're going to run it. If the box is heavy, we're going to pass it. And ultimately, it works if the box is heavy, you're going to be in one-on-one situations on the outside. You better win some of those matchups. But that's really is the philosophy that we have is take what defense gives you. Don't try to run your head into a wall and just execute at an incredibly high level.
Okay. How important is special teams to your game plan?
Incredibly. Our special teams coordinator, Kurt Freitag, does a great job. I played at Purdue. He was with me as an assistant coach at Lawrence Central High School. And we start special teams preparations in June. We're allowed 12 padded practices, helmets and shoulder pads in the summer. And we do it 2 days a week throughout the summer until we hit that 12 mark. And the first thing we do at every practice, we have a 10-minute special teams period. And that 10-minute special teams period is fundamentals, allows our kickers, holders, snappers to practice every day. And we start that June 1st. We do not start special teams in August. We start it, it's the first thing we do on day 1 in June. So we put special teams first. And then once we start installing, we'll add another 10 to 20 minutes of practice for special teams. We are a 2-platoon team. We have enough players in our program. We're allowed our players either play offense or defense. Once in a while, if we have an elite player, they'll play both ways. They have to split time at practice, but most of our players are one-way players. It does afford us the time to spend more time on special teams. So if you get to you said you're from Attica. If you have 40 players on a football team, you're not going to be able to platoon. And when I was growing up, even at Cathedral in 1988, we had 45, 50 guys on the team. We're not a 2-platoon team. I played both ways. I played linebacker and guard. But when I became the head coach at Southport High School in 2005, we committed to doing platoon football. And we had about 70, 80 guys, and we were able to platoon. And it really helped us grow, and it helped us spend time really focusing on special teams as well, because you don't have to split time on offense and defense. And usually special teams suffers when you do that. So that's our philosophy. And special teams is 1/3 of the game, and we treat it that way.
Absolutely. And like you said, I'm from Attica. I played both ways, offense and defense. Loved every second of it. My senior year, we
Now the
had
guys think that you ask them to do it, you're like asking them to do too much. But that's just the way it was back for me. It was back then, and if you're in a small school, that's how you have to do it. And because we're in a school that we do have a good number of kids who play football, we can platoon, and it does give us some advantages.
Yeah, but my senior year we had 15 guys. 1-5. Yeah, I
That
was like,
you're going both ways. Especially, what
definitely
position did you play?
offensive
What position did you play?
tackle and defensive tackle. I switched
Gotcha. I mean, if you're a
between
lineman
all
at a
the
small
defensive
school, you're
linemen.
going both ways.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I'm 6'3", 250. I'm small.
That's not small. That's a good side. I'll take you. I'll take you right now. You got still eligibility. We'll take you to Cathedral right now. We need some 6'3",
I
250 guys.
wish.
No.
I wish. How do you prevent burnout among your players?
I think number one, keep it fun. We are a program that we lift year round. We do have a weightlifting class at Cathedral High School where it's offered every period. Our kids lift during the school day, so we don't have to meet before or after school to be there till 5 o'clock. I think that's huge for us, and I think that most schools are kind of moving that model, especially like 4 or 5A and above. And it's better for the kids. It's less time. It's kids can be multi-sport athletes, which we fully support. It's important to us. And then we fought. You know what? The best way for it to do it the right way, to not burn out, follow the IHSAA rules. I think that we get 6 weeks in the winter to do things, and we do it in the morning. Other schools can do it in the afternoon, where you can meet with your guys and work on the football skills. We use 6 weeks in the winter, January, February, and then we use 6 weeks in the spring, which we're kind of wrapping up right now. And it's 2 days a week, a couple hours. And we don't grind them for 2 hours. We do a half-hour leadership development, and we do an hour and a half of athletic enhancement / skill development. And then we take March off. We take from next week on, and we're taking May off. And then we follow the rules in the summer. We lift 3 days a week. 2 of those days we get on the field and practice. We use the 12 days the IHSAA allows us in the summer, put shoulder pads and helmets on, and we give them breaks. And if they're playing another sport, they're playing the other sport. And so they don't have to feel torn on what they're doing. So I think the IHSAA rules are good. I support them. And I think that allows us not to burn kids out. We have to be at our best in October and November, not on August 1st. And so it's a build-up for us.
How do you approach mentoring a younger coach?
Man, I have been so blessed. From the time I was first a head coach at Southport High School, I was 35 at the time. I hired a bunch of guys that were younger than me, 23, 24, 25-year-olds. And, mentoring them, I, first of all, care about the kids first. From the time I've been a head coach, this will be my 20th year being a head coach, 21st year being a head coach. It's always about the kids first. So the mentorship starts with, we put the kids first. It's not about you. You're here to help kids. The second part of that is we're going to grind. We're going to work hard, and we're going to do the best job we can to help the kids. And then the third part is we're going to have fun. We are at Cathedral, at LC, at Southport. We have a family environment, and if we're kid first, we're kid oriented. We want to win games. We want to be successful, but we got to have fun. I chose a profession. I'm in a kid profession, right? I'm like a big kid. I get to have fun every day. When I go to work and coach football, that's not work. That's fun. This is fun for me. So our coaches, we have fun together. Our families are involved. After a football game, our families get together, wives, kids. We have food, we have some drinks, and we talk about the game. We do what we need to do work-wise, but it's a family environment. And so my mentorship, I've been fortunate to have guys who really care about football and care about kids at Southport, at LC, and now at Cathedral. And that transition's been really good, and they've all bought in, and it's not hard when you have fun. And so have fun with them, but you got to work. You have to care about the kids, and it kind of takes care of itself.
Speaking of being a young coach, what was your first coaching job, and what did you learn from it?
My first coaching job, I played football at Cathedral. I'm an '88 grad, and then I went to University of Evansville. I was a 4-year starter at linebacker at Evansville. And then I was offered the opportunity to coach there for a couple of years after. So my first coaching job was coaching the position group that I played. And that was linebacker. And as crazy as it sounds, in high school, I've coached every single position in high school except linebacker. And that was my first coaching job, was being a college linebacking coach. I found that that college experience was hard for me. And I think a lot of it was I was coaching my friends. That was hard. And so I was coaching guys that I'd played with for a couple of years. The Evansville program at the time, we'd come off a couple good seasons, which was not typical at Evansville. But we struggled my second year as a coach. And one of the issues was linebacking. The linebackers weren't very good, and I was a linebacker coach, and I played linebacker, and so that was tough. After my Evansville experience, I took a job at Cathedral High School. Was offered the opportunity to go back there. I coached freshman football, and I was a 3-year head football coach at the freshman football level. And I will go when I retire from coaching high school football as a head varsity coach. I'm going to spend the rest of my football career coaching freshman football, because that was one of the best experiences I've ever had. You're taking kids that don't have a lot of football knowledge, and you get to fundamentals, bring a bunch of kids together that don't know each other very well, and teach the game of football. I love that. And then from there, I moved on and being assistant coach at Cathedral High School, then Southport, and so on and so forth. But my college experience was a good learning experience. It was not always easy. The recruiting part was hard. I was young and coaching guys I was friends with. But I really have enjoyed the high school experience. It fits my mentality, I think. And even at 55 years old, I'm still a big kid. I fit in with 14, 15, 16, 17-year-olds.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to coach right after I graduated high school. Then I realized, oh yeah, these guys wouldn't take me serious.
That happened a little bit for me. So the good learning curve. Learned a lot.
What's a game you'll never forget, and why?
All right, I'm going to throw two out there. First one, as a player, I have some for sure, but as a coach, when I first went to Southport High School had not had a winning season in 10 years. So I was and I was the third coach in 3 years. They'd gone through some guys. The program wasn't going well. I took the job. I wanted desperately an opportunity to be a head football coach in high school. I think every year I probably applied for 10 jobs and got turned down 10 times. And so I finally got an opportunity to be head coach, and I thought I was going to go in there and kill it. And I didn't. In my first year, we won 1 game. My second year, we won 0 games. My third year, we won 1 game. I was 2-28 after 3 years. And somehow the administration stuck with me. And I do think we're doing things the right way. In that special group of young assistant coaches that I mentioned earlier, those guys were all there, and we were all learning. Fourth year, I thought we had a chance to maybe get some wins this year. And our first game was against Roncalli High School, and we lost. We were relatively competitive. Our second game was against Anderson High School, and Anderson wasn't a great team. And I walked into a meeting, and I said, guys, I was watching film on a Sunday morning. I said, hey, guys, this is our fourth year here together. And I'm pretty sure this is the first time I've watched a film where I know we are the better team. And this is year 4. And we went out there and won the game handily. The next week, week 3, we're playing Pike High School, who was in the state championship the year before. They had lost to Carmel, came in second in the state, and they were, I think, still ranked second going into that game for the next year. And we had no chance to win. Their quarterback went to Kentucky. They got dudes all over the place. And our guys believed. So it was kind of my first group of guys come through Southport High School. And we jumped out and got ahead of Pike. We scored 14 points in the first quarter. And they had suspended a couple guys, kind of gave us a little bit of an advantage. And we come out in the second quarter, they had punted to us, and the ball lands on the 1-inch line. And those 3-4 guys that were good players, they suspended. They put them back in the game. They were supposed to suspend them for a half. They put them back after the first quarter because they're down 14-0. And those guys come out there, they're jumping up and down. They're ready to go. And like, hey, man, so 14-0, beginning second quarter, we're on the 1-inch line. This does not look good. We then had a 19-play, 10-minute and 30-second drive, and we scored a touchdown with 30 seconds left to go before the half to go up 21-0 at halftime against the number 2 ranked team in the state, and we'd only won 2 games in the previous 3 years. Second half, at halftime, I tell our guys, they're all excited. I said, don't be excited. This game is tied. You know how explosive these guys are. You know how good they are. And we hold them the first time. They have the ball first. We hold them. We get the ball. We drive down, and our running back, who was really good that year, he was the county player of the year, Nick Turner. He popped a 50-yard run to go up 28-0. I look at my offensive line coach. And I go, you know what? I think we got a chance. And we end up winning that game 28-21. They came back and almost beat us. But that game turned Southport High School around. It was a game that the rest of my time there, we did not have a losing season. We ended up 9-2 that year. We'd lost the first game to Roncalli, ended up losing to Avon in the sectional finals. But we ended up 4th in the state and only lost 1 game that year, and did not have a losing record the rest of my time at Southport. And when I left in 2000, it would have been 2015. So we turned that program around, and that was a defining game for Southport High School, and a defining game for me is what led to me getting the job at Lawrence Central, and ultimately led to me getting the job back home, going to Cathedral.
What's your Mount Rushmore of Cathedral players you've coached?
That's a really good question. I've been fortunate to coach a lot of great kids as an assistant coach at Cathedral, as a head freshman coach, assistant varsity coach, and then obviously my last 7 years at Cathedral. Mount Rushmore, I've got to put Otis Shannon, who's Mr. Football, very high on that list. He was an outstanding kid, outstanding player. I've coached a couple guys who have played in the NFL, Jeremy Trueblood and Matthias Kiwanuka. I was a teammate of Woody Bishop and Derek Brownlow, who played in the NFL back in the late 80s. In really the last 7 years, Danny O'Neill, who's now at Wisconsin as a quarterback, has to be very high on that list. Dron Tibbs, who's at Kansas State right now. I mean, there are just a lot of great kids, and what they all have in common? They're great young. They were great young men then, and they become even better, growing up and just being better members of society and great people since.
What's your favorite quote to share with players?
It's not what you get from Cathedral football; it's what you become. It's the one thing that drives me. It's the one thing that when I get discouraged, when maybe my values get compromised and I worry about winning too much, which we all do. Um, I have to go ground myself and say, listen, my job, we want to win games. And if I don't win enough games at Cathedral, I'm not going to be there long. But ultimately, my job is to develop kids, and that has to be my core. And so that's where I start. That's where I end. And when I look myself in the mirror every day, if I'm doing that, if I'm developing kids, and it's the process of making them better human beings, no matter what happens on a Friday night, that's the most important thing to me.
What's your personal mission statement as a coach?
I would what I just said. That is my I've never like developed a personal mission statement, but I think that what I just said about it's not what you get, it's what you become, is my mission statement. It's about the process of making kids better kids. We have a few sayings at Cathedral High School. I don't have a list of rules. If you break this rule, you're gone. We have 4 rules at Cathedral High School. It is be available. Your most important ability is your availability. Be on time. It's a life lesson. You're not going to be able to hold a job if you're not on time. Do your job. Pretty simple. And then the 4th rule is golden rule. Treat people the way you want to be treated. And we expect our players to live by those 4 rules, and they're simple, and they translate into everything you do in life. And I think that if our players and our coaches live by those rules, we're going to be successful.
What are your thoughts on the transfer rule, the new transfer rule that just passed?
Yeah, I think it's good. This will be abused, and there will be bad things come from it, and there will be parents that want to move their kids because they don't get their way, and but that's part of the gig. Ultimately, I do believe a parent should be allowed to send their kid where they want to go. I've worked at public schools. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I've fought against Roncalli when I was at Southport. I recruited kids in my own building to make sure they didn't go to Roncalli or Cathedral. When I was at LC, I recruited kids to make sure they didn't go to Cathedral. And now what am I doing? I'm working at Cathedral, in which we, yeah. And so, but ultimately, parents get to choose where the kids go, and I think they should be allowed. I don't think coaches at Cathedral. I recruit my own kids at Cathedral and LC, and I don't recruit anybody at Cathedral now that doesn't come to me. I don't go and try and poach kids. If they have an interest in Cathedral, I'll follow up with them. So I think that this a long-winded answer. I think parents are allowed to make choices on where their kids go. If the kid is not happy where they're at, they should be allowed to make a move. That being said, I think that the rules that the IHSAA have put in place are pretty solid, in that we don't want parents changing kids to look for greener pastures every single year. And the main reason is that's going to hurt the kids. But if there needs to be a move for the betterment of that young man, I'm fully supportive of it. And I think the move is good. And, it's going to hurt sometimes because people are going to leave if they're not happy. That being said, at Cathedral High School, we always sign off. Under the old rules, kid wants to leave because they're not happy, we always sign off at Cathedral High School. It's one of those things that they pay money to go to Cathedral High School. It might be financial, might be whatever. We're going to sign off. That being said, I think it is a good rule, and we're gonna support what the parents think. And if a kid leaves Cathedral High School, and periodically do, I always say, if you're not happy where you're moving to, you're always welcome back with open arms, and we never want to burn a bridge. And we support parents' rights when it comes to making decisions for their kids.
Absolutely. I think the schools that are going to be really affected by it are the small schools.
I've heard that concern for sure.
Yeah, and I'm on obviously the Indiana high school football Facebook page. I think everybody who cares about Indiana high school football sees that, and they're like, oh, I look in the comments and everybody's freaking out. I'm like, I mean, it really depends on the situation. Like, if you're transferring, like, for example, Cam Rising, who started somewhere and ended up at Utah, played 7 years of college ball. Like, how can you transfer that much? Luckily, the IHSAA has put rules in where if you transfer, you're pretty much stuck. But
Unless you want to sit 30 days, yeah.
It's 30 days. Wow.
If you move, I mean, my understanding is, and it's all new, I'm sure things will change, but if you transfer after June 1st this year, and you go to a school and say like you transfer, I'll look at the schools that I've coached at. You transfer from Cathedral High School to Southport High School, and you make that move because you think that's in the best interest of your son. The IHSAA is going to grant that. If the student who's at now at Southport wants to transfer because they're not happy there either, transfers to Perry Meridian, which is their next door school, that the punishment's going to be you're going to sit out the first 30 days of the season starting at the first contest. I think that's the way the rules were written. The only caveat to that is if you transfer from Cathedral to Southport and you're not happy at Southport, you've made a bad decision, the grass wasn't greener, you could go back to the original school, no punishment whatsoever. So that's my understanding of the rule. I think I'm pretty accurate on that. And that's the way it's written.
Okay. All right. My last question for you today, Coach, is what's the final message to any young man dreaming of wearing a Cathedral jersey?
The message is, it's not what you get, it's what you become. If you want to come to Cathedral High School, you need to come for the right reasons. We're a top academic program. Last year, 2024, we were the Hatchell Cup Award winner, which is a brand new national award. We were recognized as the top academic football program in the country. And that is voted on by the National Football Foundation. It's not very well known because it's relatively new. The first year was 2023, second year 2024, and they just named a school out in California for 2025. You're going to come here to be a student athlete. Cathedral High School has great football, but we're not a football factory. You're going to have to pay money. We do not have athletic scholarships. You know what people think we do? We do not. We do have financial aid. If you have a family in need, between the vouchers and all that, that's there. But you got to be able to. You want to come to Cathedral for the right reasons. If you want to be developed as a student, as a person, in a social and spiritual way, and then obviously in an athletic way, we're a school that is going to do the best we can in all phases. So it's not what you get, it's what you become, and you have to come for the right reasons. If the only reason you're coming to Cathedral High School is to get a scholarship or win a state championship, you're coming for the wrong reasons. Come for the right reasons, which is to be developed as a human being.
Absolutely, Coach. I definitely agree. Now, I want to thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me. This has been enjoyable.
I'm Bryan Jones. He's Bill Peebles. Thank you for listening.